How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin. I'm going to be putting a gasket on the door today of my wood burner. I figure you guys would like to come along and check it out, see how I do it. My top gasket on this stove is working just fine, but my bottom one it's starting to leak, and I'm going to show you how you can tell when it's leaking. Let's get this started here. Okay. Alright, this is my top gasket. This one right here. And I think I replaced this one just a few years ago. Now this little gasket here, you see, it's kind of getting bad, but it's the one that goes behind the window. Now you do even have to watch like this stuff right here. I'll cut that off because that'll actually let a little air come through, and we want these to be sealed up. So this gasket's okay, but take a look at this bottom one. You can see where it's starting to get bad. It's not a round rope like this no more. It's starting to chew up, and it's letting air through there. And whatever you do, you don't want air to get through here, because then you can't control it. And you can look here, here's a big gap right here. I've never changed this one since I've had the stove. So we're going to be pulling this one out and putting a new one in here. So let's see how it goes. Okay, I want to tell everyone, before you go out and buy this gasket material, make sure you measure your gasket that you already have before you go buy it, because you're going to find this in 3/8, 1/2 inch, and 5/8, and that's what I've seen so far. So, I mean, there could be more, I'm not sure, but that's a common size that I see all the time. And mine is 3/8. And what I done, let's see if I can move this down here. What I had done is I had just measured the distance between this to get my gasket size. And then I went and picked up the 3/8 gasket. But like I said, don't just run out and get it. Make sure you measure it, because if you don't, you're going to probably waste your time. You want to make sure you get the right gasket. And I'm going to show you just a little bit more. Since I got this thing in the garage, I'm going to show you a little bit more about how you can tell this gasket is bad. It's a pretty old gasket. Now you can see right there, in that spot right there, I would be leaking air in here. And I noticed when I was burning, it was getting a little bit harder to control the temperature. So that being said, I knew that something was leaking somewhere. So right there is where my leak is, right there. And I mean, you can see it's all flared up here. That you don't want that. You want it to look real nice, just like the gasket should look. So you know, any kind of holes like this, you're going to leak air, and you're not going to be able to control it. And that's a lot of times, if I do that, I do a little chimney burn on my stove, and you know, I try to get it cleaned out, and you need to be able to shut that thing completely down, so you cut the air off, and that right there could slow it down. So, or it could actually speed your fire up, so you're not controlling it as well. So let's get to changing this gasket out. Alright, the only thing you want to do is, if you can't pull it out, just take your little screwdriver and get it pulled up so you can get it coming out of this crack. Now, they give you a fiberglass stove gasket cement, but you know what? It's not like you're really going to need that stuff. Most of the times there's, you know, this gasket's going to just lay in there and it's going to be fine. You're not going to have to worry about it. Now that we got that gasket out of there, I'm just going to clean it out real good, make sure there's nothing in there that can get in the way of my gasket. So basically, it's not going to be any more than just brushing it out. Just take a rag, because there's a little bit of debris in there. We're just going to brush it out real good. Just make sure there's nothing in there. Little blow on it, be alright. Okay, now that's pretty, I mean, that's clean enough. All you're going to do is you're going to be cutting the gasket, and I'll give you a little close up of the stuff that I'm using here. And I've used the same thing. There's 7 foot in this thing. We're not going to use all 7 foot, so we're going to have to be cutting it down. We're going to cut this thing down a little bit. Alright, now if you have a hard time keeping your gasket in, you could use this this gasket material. It'll hold it into place. But in my case, I don't think I'm going to have much of a hard time keeping it in there, because it's such a deep groove in this. And we're not going to stretch this stuff. We're just going to lay it in there. Actually, I kind of pushed it back up so this corner stays full up in here. So we're just going to lay it all the way around there. Just don't pack it in there too tight. Just make sure it stays, that's all. Now you see this corner over here. Let me show you. Get you in here a little closer. See if I can get you. Show you this corner right here. What I mean by pushing it up in a corner. Come on, baby, zoom in. Okay, you see this corner right here? It's empty. So what I'm going to do is push the gasket up and then push it down in that corner, because I want that corner to be filled up. See how the corner looks now? I want all my corners to look like that. I want it to be all gasket, not in the same way with this one here. What I'll do is I'll just kind of push the gasket back that way and push it into that corner. And that gives me a good seal on that corner. So that looks good. And we're going to just keep doing that. Can you see that okay? Right there's the other corner. When you pull it around like this, you have a gap there. What I do is I take the gasket and I shove it back in that corner. That way we have a nice seal in that corner too. So we'll work our way over to this corner over here. We'll lay the gasket right along there. We're not going to stretch this gasket. We don't want to stretch it, because then it's going to get thin. We're going to work our way right into that corner. We're going to do the same thing. Push it back in there. And then we're going to cut it off right there. We have a bunch of extra. So we don't want to throw that extra away, because we're going to be working on a gas forge here pretty soon. And this stuff may come in handy for that gas forge. Or another gasket that we might want to make. So we're going to get this thing cut off over here. I think I could just use my old pair of scissors here. I'm going to cut it off. And we don't want to cut it too short, so we'll cut it a little longer. And we'll stick it down in there. And this should be a good fit on this gasket. Now, as you see, I didn't use any of that gasket, the fiberglass stove gasket cement. I didn't use any because I didn't need it. This thing is so deep in here that it's going to stay fine. There is nothing wrong with the way that gasket's put in there. Alright, I got the door back on the stove now. Now when you first close it, it may be a little bit tighter than it was before. So you might have to push it closed a little bit better till that gasket kind of gets broke in, and it'll actually make a groove around that gasket, so it'll seat itself in there. This will make for definitely a safe, more efficient burning in your wood burner. You're able to control the temperature better, and it's just a whole lot better to control the temperature for me. That way the fire can't get out of hand. If I ever get a chimney fire or something, if I shut it down, it has no air, so it has to go out. That's the best thing about having good gaskets on your stove. So I'd like to tell everybody thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave your thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment if you'd like. Till next time.